expecting someone else?
All right, all right. Thank you, Title Boxing, for your sponsorship. Thank you for your support, always supporting our Masters program. We really appreciate you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we have our special guest here with us today, the one and only, the man that has fought as a master boxer, has fought as an amateur, has been an official, has been featured in Sports Illustrated. The man, he's also a guitarist, badass to the bone, the one and only Mr. Johnny Farace. Farace,
Hey,
Farace.
Farace, thank you, Manny. I appreciate you. And first of all, my dude, thank you so much, man. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me on this show and this podcast. I love your platform. And thank you
Thank
for
you.
all you've done in Masters Boxing along the years. You know, ever since I met you way back when, which we'll talk about, but you
Absolutely.
are my man, the OG.
Well, the great thing is we both were there from the start, brother, and um, like I've spoken about this many times. My inspiration, what keeps me going, is the friendships that I've built throughout the years, and you're definitely one of them. You've been a brother to me since day one. You know what I mean? Since we first met, we've had a great relationship, and we followed each other. You have some incredible stories that we'll get into. You know what I mean? But thank you for coming on, brother. I know a lot of the masters know you, and a lot of the masters want to hear your story as well. So before we get into masters boxing, all right, this was kind of good because I want to start off with if you could introduce yourself and then let the people know where you from and what was it like growing up as Johnny.
Okay, so I was born in New York. However, I
Okay.
grew up in South Dakota,
Okay.
right in middle of the Midwest. So growing up in South Dakota was a little different,
Okay.
obviously than New York. And for me, I found boxing very, very young. I found boxing a few times, but seemed to get in a lot of fights when I was younger in the South Dakota. So when I was about in the fifth grade, I joined the boxing team, and man, I met, just like you said, about the same thing that happens in the Masters and everywhere in boxing. It truly is a fraternity, and that fraternity was even when I was younger. So I grew up in South Dakota boxing, and through the sport of boxing, I befriended a lot of great people in South Dakota along the way.
Yeah.
But it wasn't always easy, to be honest with you. Um, it's definitely culturally streamlined, let's call it.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's just a little different feel. And for me, it was kind of like seemed like a fight all the way through it, but boxing saved me, and um, it pushed me. And anybody that learns the sport of boxing, you walk different your whole entire life.
Yeah.
So anything that may rub you wrong or may, nothing ever bothered me, man. I could adapt anywhere. So even though I didn't fit in as I felt in the beginning, I kind of fought my way in. And once,
Yeah.
that went in. So growing up there, by the time I left South Dakota, everybody loved me. I loved everybody. And it was a very, very cool thing. You know,
Awesome.
Just going
Awesome.
into it, it seemed like I kind of had to earn a little respect, if you will.
Yeah.
Um, However, that brought me down to here in Florida, and then I joined a rock band, and then boxing went away for quite a while.
Okay.
But when I found out I was 35 years old, 36 years old, and it was way back when. And I don't know if Manny, you'll remember, it was way back when Ringside, before the internet, before all that Facebook and everything. But Ringside used to send out the magazines every month, and you would
Absolutely.
read the magazines, and you'd look and you'd say, all right, I want the headgear on page 56, and I want this on that, and then you would call them and you'd place your order, whatever. So through that magazine, it's 2007, and I seen that they were advertising for, they had a yearly amateur, the largest amateur boxing tournament in the world called the Ringside World Championships. They had every year. And they advertised, and they had a picture of the belt, this amazing belt with this spinning thing. and it said, advertised, said anyone over 35 masters can compete if you've never went pro. I'm like, wow, that's kind of crazy. I just happened at that time. I just found a little gym, started doing a little boxing, kind of hadn't boxing about 15 years. Seems like when we get in about that 35, 40-year-old, we kind of want to test ourselves, see if we still got it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, some people kind of roll over,
Yeah.
but some of us say, I still got it, man. Come
Yeah.
on, let's get this here. So I saw this ad for Ringside Masters. I said, man, I'm going to do this. I had about 4 months of training. I trained like Rocky on every movie combined,
Yeah.
ended up a ton of adversity even getting out there. My coach couldn't make it. I missed my flight. I went out there. I didn't have a fight right away, and they said, "Hey, go talk to this guy, John Brown. He could probably help you out." And I'm like, "Okay, John Brown." And I go, "Hey, John." And he goes, "Hey, he owns Ringside, so that's how humble
Yeah.
that guy is." He brought me out to his car, and he's flipping through, and they happened to find another unmatched guy that had a lot of fights. I had back in South Dakota, by the way, I had about 48 fights as an amateur. And it was quite a bit. I fought about 8 years. Won state silver gloves, went to nationals. It was a good time, great experience. So with that experience as a youth, coming to the Masters, because I would never want to face somebody that's only put their gloves on last week,
Yeah.
6 months ago, or a year ago even, or two,
Right.
whatever. So John Brown, God bless his heart, he found a match for me, Vincent Perez, and we fought our hearts out in Kansas City in August of 2008. And I won on that close fight. I won, and I got the belt. It changed my life forever and opened a million doors.
Yeah.
And my life like over and over again, and has truly made my life into a beautiful thing it is today. I could absolutely say that.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of those times, because it was a little bit different back then. It was pretty much the only tournament at the time that you could attend. Like there was no other real tournament. Once in a while you might be able to get on a local show, maybe, but even that was extremely difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about like the feeling, especially after you won your first title, because it gets addictive. So,
Yeah.
what was it like to feel like okay to plan a year for the next one? You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like 2 months from now there's going to be another one and another one.
It was such a high. First of all, that feeling of just winning
Yeah,
and all that, and I kind of want. I'm going to get to your question too about that year
yeah,
planning, but I also want to interject the extreme importance, and this kind of ties into that of that's immediately when I met you, my man,
yeah,
because you were out there, you were vlogging it back
yeah,
then. Yeah, right. And you had organized the Masters boxing division. You were keeping everybody together, and back then it was called forums,
yeah,
and really keeping that old school network and OG
yeah,
network, face to face and shaking hands and rubbing elbows and that type of thing. So you approached me right after I fought,
yeah.
and I honestly, that was the first very. Can I curse on this thing? No,
Absolutely.
that was the very first fucking awesome feeling that I had. It's like, wow, man, this dude from Los Angeles came up showing me all this love with master boxing and and holding that belt and you want to take photos and this, that, and the other thing. And it was like, wow, man, I'm a champion.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm a champion, man. After
yeah,
all that hard work, I'm a champion. And, and,
yeah,
and we'll get back to that, our introduction and meeting and how
yeah,
that spawned into what we were. But, yeah, so that whole next year, I walked, talked, and ate like a champion. And it was amazing. But that was a long run to wait all the way until
yeah.
next year. If I'm not mistaken, I think I went out to Gleason's in February before then.
Okay, okay, yeah. Because then what I remember, so Gleason's, we, me and Jackie, so we met. So here's the thing, met Jackie there too. So I think it was the same year. I think it was the same year where like we all kind of met each other, and I remember talking to Jackie because I came out of Gleason's when I was a kid, and so I knew I knew Bruce well, but Jackie was working with Bruce at the time, and so one of the things that I wanted to do was kind of figure out how can we match people um, a little bit better, maybe. You know what I mean? And so I knew that Gleason's was doing a camp during the summer. So I was like, what if we do a camp and we're able to see what the masters have and match them up correctly? You know what I mean? And so that's how the camp kind of started. and then there was about like the last day of the camp. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that kind of started, and we did that. I was there the first year, and I think you went the second year. I think you
Right.
went the year after, and
Yep.
yeah, but it just it caught life on its own. You know what I'm saying? And then like the people Bruce started bringing in, the who was it? He brought a bunch of pros in, former champions and everything.
Iran was there, was one of them, one of the trainers that we were.
Yeah,
Actually, was one of the trainers, and Hector Roca.
Hector Roca, rest in peace. Yeah. So just this great lineup that so much information and such great source. You know what I mean? To be able to like learn from, and then to apply it. You know what I mean? And then you compete and you actually apply it. You know what I mean? So, if you want to talk a little bit about that experience, you know what I'm saying?
All these experiences are so awesome. Yeah. So I mean, it all kind of those first couple of years kind of blended together,
Yeah.
and the second year of ringside, and then Gleason's had this, and here I found myself in the middle of Gleason's gym with Hector Roca. You got Iran Barkley,
Yeah.
Lisa Ashley, who is a legend in the female women's boxing.
Yeah.
And in this epic area, and it's like just the gifts that this sport gives you,
Yeah.
whatever, and be able to learn and really take that knowledge in from those different people, and just the experiences, and finding out how humble people in boxing really are.
Yeah.
I don't know how many like former world champion football NFL players would sit and have such a humble conversation I did with Iran Barkley,
Yeah. Yeah.
or Hector Roca, or would sit down with me and said, "Hey, listen, you really need to tuck that right shoulder." I don't
Yeah.
know how many people at that level would really stand. You know what I'm saying? That's the
Yeah.
sport. That's what really impressed upon me the most
Yeah.
about boxing. Just the love of everybody. It's just like it's one. It's one. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
So that experience was really awesome. And then at that time you were really starting to gear up the forums and really starting to connect people, Manny. And
Yeah.
that's really what turned this into what it is today.
Yeah, I remember. So when I first met you, so just so you know, I don't know if you guys knew about it, but what I wanted to do was to kind of spread the word out of Masters Boxing. What I used to do was I would get a list of all the champions, right? All the guys, like all you guys that won, and so I would call your local newspaper after, and I'd be like, "Do you know you have like a boxing champion that's 37 years old or whatever age, you know what I'm saying?" And be like, "It's crazy, So then the newspapers would be like, "It's such a unique story that they'd be like, oh, do you have their information? We would love to talk to them or whatever." So some papers would like pick it up, and then others wouldn't. You know what I mean? But it was just a
Oh, Sentinel
yeah,
called me. I got
yeah,
they did. Oh, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it was a way to like let others know, okay, here are these great athletes that are at a certain age, but they're still competing and everything. It's out there. You know what I mean? And so you guys were a big um, point of that push. You know what I'm saying? And then we actually got into the Ring magazine. We were featured in the Ring magazine, so that gave us another little push. You know what I mean? And so little by little we started growing. And the thing is I just remember when we met, we kept in touch, bro. Me, you, Jackie. There was a couple of others, you know what I mean? And we're trying to form, and John Brown was the one that was trying to orchestrate it. We were trying to form this masters group to kind of take it over, you know what I mean? And I remember we're getting close, and then John disappeared.
Yeah. Yeah.
but we got close, and but it helped, you know what I
Right
mean?
about
It
that
still
time,
helped.
he got hired by USA Boxing and went off
Yeah,
to be president of USA Boxing, so he got
yeah.
away from
He got super busy, you know what I mean? Which,
it.
being an owner from a company, and then at one point he became the president of USA Boxing, you know what I mean? There was a lot of things that were going on. So, but it helped. It put us in a right direction of keeping going, you know what I mean? Keeping the momentum going and whatnot. So yeah.
People don't understand how hard before like Facebook groups and everything and all this now it's so easy to. I mean, look how we're all connected now or
Yeah.
whatever. You don't know how hard it was to keep the shit together back then. And man, did that. I'm telling you, he worked selflessly through everything and made sure we're all connected. We all pitched in all we could.
Yeah.
And, there's some that come and went. And of course, this isn't, very few people can do this. There's like, what's it, 16, 17 years, how many ever long we've
Yeah.
been masters, and there's been a lot of amazing, beautiful people along the way that have stepped in and, they're seasonal, but they were there and they went on and it's
Yeah.
been a collective, effort by everybody. And now it's such an amazing, I mean, how many shows are this year? How many shows you got
Yeah.
this year?
There's about eight, 9 shows, man. Tournaments.
What?
Yeah.
Nine
Yeah.
shows a year? Come on, you guys are spoiled. See,
Which I got to talk to you about
you're
one thing.
spoiled. You're blessed. You're
You
blessed.
you yourself put on a show,
I did.
which was
2013.
awesome. It was an awesome show. Talk a little bit about that. Now you're on the other side of it. You know what I'm saying? Putting the show together and everything. How was that?
Fucking amazing. It really was, man. I tell you, through this sport, I've done everything in this sport that you could possibly do. I've fought. I was a coach. I was a second. I was a promoter. I did a tournament. I was a ring announcer. I did the national anthem, spit bucket guy, mop bucket guy. I've pretty much done it all. But, through what you were doing and what Gleason's had done and what Ringside did with their, annual Masters tournament, I really wanted to do what better location than South Florida? And, one of the gifts I got through boxing was the fact that I had a beautiful family, the Holloways, Chris Holloway. They had a gym here in South Florida called Strike Gym, and they allowed me to run the boxing program there. And he set up an amazing, well, I helped set it up, but he backed it,
Yeah.
if you will. Awesome tournament. We had a 3-day tournament. It was 2 days of boxing, 1 day of clinics. There was people from all over the country that came. I think I even came from Ireland. I'm not for sure. I got
Yeah.
a old memory bank on that, but that was I think about almost 60 competitors, 2 days of fighting, and it was a collective. I had Corey Spinks doing some clinics.
That's right.
I had Coach Anthony Ham doing clinics, and it was very cool. And again, talking about the fraternity of boxing, we had more meet and greets and tacos and pizza than we did fighting. You know what I mean? But we did a lot of
Yeah.
good fight. Yeah, we had a tournament at the end, and
Yeah.
it was awesome. Everybody was happy, and it was really an amazing feeling, and yet another feather in the boxing headgear, if you will.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I'm going to tell you a quick little story. So, a guy that became really, really close to me, Doc Doherty, he went to your
Uh,
tournament. It was his first event as a master boxer, right? And he was, I want to say about 66, 67 at that time. He had battled cancer and had beat cancer, throat cancer. So they took out like 1/3 of his throat. So the way he would breathe, and in between rounds he couldn't take water, and so I guess when you were cornering him with who was it from Atlanta, Hill, Marty,
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 yeah.
yeah, you guys were cornering him, right? And I guess you were trying to give him water. He's like, no.
Yeah, he's like, no, no, no more, no more, no more. I thought he didn't want to box no more. It's like, well, I told you, he doesn't want to box
Yeah,
no
yeah. And so he was like, no, 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 because
more.
I
He's like,
guess
no, I
I
don't want to
guess
fight.
I guess the way he breathes, he can't drink water when he's in that situation or whatever. But anyway, he ended up winning, and he was always so thankful to you and Marty for cornering him. You know what I mean? And he would always talk about that experience. It was one of his highlight experiences. You know what I mean? So again, the flip side of it, here you are doing the tournament, and now you know what I'm saying, everybody sees the work that you're putting in and everything. You know what I'm saying? As a promoter, as a guy that's putting on the event, you had some beautiful belts. It was an amazing, amazing tournament. So we have a question for you. When's it coming back?
You know what? We'll full circle back up to that point, but now I've actually, if you see here, Level Up Boxing and Fitness here in Fort
That's
Lauderdale,
what's up.
found myself a home. So we could say very soon. I think maybe
Awesome.
spring break tournament down here would probably be on point, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, people are asking for Florida,
For a
bro.
lot
A lot
Yeah.
of people are asking Florida. You know what I mean?
time to be
So
down here,
yeah,
like March maybe next year.
yeah,
Someone frame, if we can find someone that doesn't conflict with the others, I think
yeah.
that'd be a good.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things we're going to try to do next year is kind of organize ourselves, so that way we don't run into each other's events and whatnot. You know what I mean? So
Well,
we'll
I commit, and I'll absolutely throw on a show. Find us, and
okay.
and that time of year down here when it's not too hot would be through maybe January through May.
Yeah.
Um, and the holidays at the end of the year is a little too much, but yeah, let me know and let's go.
Yeah, we'll talk, bro. We'll definitely talk and we'll put something together, man. So now you've done a lot of Masters events. You've been very successful. You were also on Sports Illustrated, my man. Can you talk a little bit about that experience?
Man, another crazy experience. 2013 was a pretty crazy, awesome year for me in Masters boxing. It was right when you started getting a lot of tournaments going on, and I'd fought about 4 or 5 times that year.
Yeah.
I won maybe 4 times, I think. I won a few different tournaments, and I was blessed with the award of Master Boxer of the Year
Yes.
by Master Boxing Division. And in the same year, someone contacted the newspaper, it's probably you, which contacted Illustrated, and they contacted me, and they have this Faces in the Crowd. I don't even know if they still have
Hmm.
um,
Yeah,
that
they
thing,
still
but
do. Yeah.
yeah, they're so cool. They called me and they said, "Hey," asked me about my story, and I said, "Hey, this did this, and this is my age. I think I was almost close to 40 at that time, and boom, print came out. I mean, Sports Illustrated, man. Wow,
Yeah.
crazy!" And they gave a little bio of my background, my
Yeah.
picture. And it, man, I just feel blessed and totally just, I don't know. It's an amazing feeling to know that people are looking at that saying, "Wow, man," and they're inspired by that.
Yeah.
Inspiring.
Well, here's the thing, bro. Is and I know you're not one to brag, bro. So I'm gonna brag for you a little bit, my man, because you've done some amazing things. You're an incredible boxer, bro. You're one that I would say one of the best, one of the goats for sure. You know what I'm saying in this division.
Thank
You know what I mean?
thank
The whole
you a
thing
lot.
with Sports Illustrated, I'm gonna tell you right now. Yeah, I contacted the newspaper, but guess who else? Your
Sports
kid,
Illustrated. Oh, you
your
did?
son, your son.
Yeah.
And so it
Yeah.
was a mutual thing where, but it was well deserved. You know what I'm saying? And like we looked at even when Sports Illustrated, I talked to Sports Illustrated, and they were like, okay, is there anybody else? Who's the top dog? You know what I mean? And at that time, bro, there was nobody else. Like you were steps above. You know what I'm saying? And so it was an easy pick. You know what I mean? And when Sports Illustrated, I sent them a couple of videos and whatnot, and when they saw it, like, it was over. They were like, yeah, this is the dude. You know what I mean? So it was
And,
awesome, man.
and I forget, I do remember too that Jordan ended up sending him a letter too, and I forget that's wow.
Yeah,
I mean, to be even recognized by a publication like that, and even to be in the situation right now, and I totally appreciate the praises, man. I put a lot of hard work into
yeah,
boxing, a lot of lumps on the chin, and it's all
yeah.
about getting back up and getting back in there, and I just kept doing that over and over, and thank you for the praises, man.
Oh, for sure, man, for sure. You deserve them. You definitely deserve them. You know what I mean? And
Thank you.
you were one that throughout the years, you know what I'm saying, you were there to also mentor some of these new master boxers, answer questions when there was questions. You know what I mean? And you were always, here's one of the things too, you were always straight up with people. I remember a guy 50 something years old, he's like, I'm gonna go pro and this and that, and hadn't had any bouts, not in the masters, not in amateurs or anything. And you were like, look, brother, I'm gonna tell you straight up. And you were just honest with him, you know what I mean? And that's what people need sometimes, you know what I mean? And so I've always appreciated everything that you've done, you know what I mean? But let me ask you this. Give me, what would you say has been the highlight throughout the Masters for you? Like, what is there about, or any event or anything that kind of stands out for you that really, you know, sticks with you?
The whole thing as a whole, I got to be honest with you. That one
Okay.
2013 year, being in Sports Illustrated, that was definitely the height of it all.
Okay.
But I can't remember any one single time that I didn't love whether my hand got raised or didn't. That I didn't just was proud of myself. You know what I mean? Come from a kind of a little tough background, and where that I fend for myself a lot, and a lot of everything I've had in this, even the hard bumps, I've kind of loved, because I knew that it was the one that was bringing me through life. So, but the high points were definitely in 213. You're winning ringside, your hands raised, you're out partying afterwards,
Yeah.
having fun. But really, the ultimate highlight is where I'm at right now,
Awesome.
and being
Awesome.
able to teach boxing,
Okay.
inspire people, have people like you talk about me and say, you think I'm a great boxer, and just people look up to me, and like, I
Yeah.
try to keep myself, very healthy every day, and I think really the true reward of it all, is right now and where I'm at now, and I'm living an extremely healthy life, very happy life, and this is my ultimate reward. So I'll say now.
Okay. Awesome. Okay, I got a couple questions for you
Uh-huh.
that are coming from a couple of people that are watching right now. So
Nice.
Warren Gel One says, "What was your top three bucket list as a boxer?" You kind of answered that already a little
Mm-hmm.
bit, but if you want to go more in depth, and it's up to you.
All right, cool. Hi, Warren. How you doing, man? Thanks. My bucket list for the first one was winning ringside. The second one, believe it or not, I would really wanted to be a trainer, which I do now. I'm a trainer. As what I didn't bring up, but all along the way, I learned how to train. Did a lot of training too, so I have to keep on getting hit in the head. But the second bucket list is I really wanted to train a boxer full circle from first punch to winning a fight, and like competitive fight. And I did that. And that
Okay.
even went even more so. And the next bucket thing was really that tournament. That was
Okay.
something that I really wanted to do, just to bring everybody together, because I'm all about that. I just want to bring that fraternity, and that get together was awesome. So
Yeah.
those are definitely my three things, Warren, and all awesome. My bucket was pretty big. I had 10 things in there, but thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. I have another question for you, and this kind of goes into some of the things that you've talked about, what you're doing now. But Kevin says from Louisiana says, Johnny, are you still playing music as well as boxing?
Kevin, Louisiana, how you doing, my man? Absolutely, the two things that saved my life: music and boxing. Things right behind me, right here, my guitar and my boxing gloves. Absolutely. And you know what? I quit my corporate job that I hated, and now for a living, I play music and I teach boxing. And I couldn't be in a better place. So yeah, I play. Matter of fact, we play this weekend. We play all the time. I play in a couple local cover band here in the area, and then I teach boxing 5 days a week, and loving life.
What
Thanks,
part?
Kev.
What part of Florida are you in?
Fort Lauderdale.
Fort Lauderdale. So anybody that's in and around Fort Lauderdale, if you want to hear my man play, hit him up. You know what I'm saying? My man's playing all the time. So yeah.
Yeah. A
All
little
right.
quick story off that too, if you don't mind, if you can segue
Absolutely.
into the next question. So, kind of another great thing in boxing that had happened to me, and one of the questions here about my bucket list in training somebody full circle was the kid that I trained, who's one of my best friends now. His name's Johnny Shabika, Johnny Thunder. I was his first boxing coach. I trained him through the Golden Gloves. We went through the Golden Gloves. Um, 10 years later, he owns this boxing gym now. So
Wow.
had I not taught him how to box, there would be no level up, right?
Yeah. There you
So
go.
even fast forward a little more, I went through a little transition in my life recently where I went through a divorce. Now I'm not divorced. I had to kind of reestablish myself in a business, and now I'm with Level Up Boxing. So it all came full
Full
circle back,
circle.
and none of this shit would happen without Masters Boxing. So I think that was Kevin or whoever, but thank you. Anyway, I just wanted to point that story out. Level Up Boxing, Fort Lauderdale.
Awesome, man.
This great gym. Matter of fact, we have undisputed champion Teofimo Lopez doing his training camp there right now.
Nice, nice. So here's what we'll do: is once we're logged off or whatever, and we post this, we'll post some of the information, the gym information, as well as contact information. So for any shows and stuff like that, you know what I mean, that you want to share. Um, let's get into this. A few years ago, if you want to talk about this, it's up to
Hmm.
you. Um, but you had an incredible experience in California. If
Yes,
you know what I'm
absolutely.
talking about.
I absolutely do, and I absolutely talk about this. Absolutely.
Okay.
So, yeah, kind of goes back to my story of coming up in South Dakota. I come up to single, very hardworking mother who worked her ass off for raising three children, and and I boxed, and I always uh, never knew who my father was growing up, right? And I'd always kind of wondered, and through the wonders of ancestry DNA and a little research and that sort of thing, I was able to connect with them um, when I was 50 years old. And before that, I didn't even know who he existed, and nobody really even knew back then. Back in the 60s, people were just whatever. Things are happening, and I was always assumed to be the son of someone else. And when DNA tests come back, found out I was the son of someone else. So I went searching for him, and through ancestry DNA, you always kind of wonder who you are. And I thought I was German before, didn't know I was Italian, but I come on. Anyway, it was pretty wild discovery, and just kind of searching. It wasn't like a direct link, and ended up contacting a relative. I ended up sending out a whole bunch of emails through the ancestry DNA, and ended up connecting with his grandson. And I sent him a letter, and I said, "Hey, look, I know this is kind of crazy, but through DNA, I've determined that you're my father, and I know you have a family now. I'm not trying to disrupt anything, but I'm trying to connect the dots of where I came from." And I didn't even think I would get a phone call back. I was 50 years old, whatever, and boom, he called me. He says, "Hey, Johnny, how you doing?" And it's kind of just a
Wow.
miracle of science. And he's like, and for the first time in my life, I'm talking to my father.
Wow.
It was a pretty unbelievable feeling, man. Every time I think about it, it's just like you go through your whole life kind of just wondering about something, and the
Yeah.
night
Yeah.
you finally know. And,
Yeah.
and, and God bless his heart and his family. He was so open armed. He said, "Hey, listen, why don't you come on out? I want to meet you. I want you to meet my family. And what a great surprise." And I flew out to California, and his whole family with open arms, big Italian family, brought me in as their own, and it was really just a beautiful thing. That meeting him was extremely anxious.
Yeah.
I mean, Eddie, face to face, eye to eye with your father after 50 years you never met, and never even knew existed. You didn't know you
Yeah.
existed, whatever the case may
Yeah.
be. And it was a pretty amazing thing. And I tell you, what an experience of just kind of feeling whole after having an empty spot your whole life.
Yeah. Yeah. For
I,
sure.
I finally just went. I connected the dots,
Yeah.
of who I
Yeah.
was, where I came from, and definitely an amazing feeling. And we
Yeah.
still hold an amazing relationship now, and I'm glad, even though he's a little older in life, I'm still able to spend the time with him. So that was definitely a miracle.
That's
Yeah.
amazing, brother. Yeah, and I could imagine you feel more whole. You know, what I mean, more of a complete person. You know what I mean?
There's always that bit of empty. I always kind of wondered. I always knew there was something weird, something off, and I was
Yeah.
like, always kind of wondered what that was. And there's a little more background to that, but I mean,
Yeah.
it was kind of tough coming up and wondering about that. And
Yeah.
and Annie, I'll tell you what, any child that comes up without one of the other parent, whether it be the father or the mother, it's tough. When
Yeah.
single
Yeah.
parenting, it's very, 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 very tough. And those kids, have a different adjustment to come through,
Yeah.
because they don't have the dual parents, guiding them and mentoring them, and making sure, it's exhausting for one parent to run after three
Yeah.
kids. And,
Yeah.
and it's exhausting for all that. So that's tough. So that whole perspective of coming up with one parent or two, it's different. But having that hole, but filling it in afterwards, and
Yeah.
going, wow, and just feeling it. I just connected with the
Yeah.
guy. Of course, my dad is fucking awesome, so it's kind of cool.
That's awesome, brother. Well, congratulations, man. I always wanted to tell you that, man. Congratulations, and I'm so happy for you, man, because I know the feeling. You know what I'm saying? I came up with the single parent, so I know the feeling. So for you to like have that fulfillment, you know what I'm saying? It's
Mm,
it's awesome, man.
yeah, thank
Congratulations,
you.
brother.
I
Congratulations.
truly appreciate that. I truly appreciate that.
All right. So what else do we have on the table, Johnny? What else is going on? What talk to us? The
Well, so
floor is
check it out.
yours.
All right, thank you. So anyway, once again, keep supporting Manny. Everybody that's out there that's watching this, Manny has done selflessly just put himself out there to keep this thing going, and I appreciate you guys all out there, and I definitely want to send the encouragement out for you guys to continue to do this and continue to recruit other people to do this, and because it truly is an amazing fraternity. I'm hoping to get out to one or two tournaments just to check it out this year and say hi and bump around, but for me, man, I'm at Level Up Boxing. Anybody in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, you come on down, Level Up Boxing and Fitness down here, right downtown Fort Lauderdale. I'm in that gym right now with those guys. And also, as Manny mentioned before, we're going to definitely talk about hosting a tournament here next year. Because I would love to do that. I've been kind of kicking it around for the last couple of years, and we're definitely going to pull the trigger on that. For me, other than the gym, I play music in a band called One Rebellion. You can catch us anywhere, Instagram at One Rebellion Band, and that's good, fun stuff. My son, who is literally he's 20 years old now, he teaches boxing at our gym. He's going to college.
Wow.
It's an amazing thing. He's like 6 foot tall. I don't know how that happened, but it did, which is definitely a beautiful thing. And yeah, living in Fort Lauderdale and loving life, man, right now. And I've just another gift that boxing gives you is just that it's a lifestyle. And
Yeah.
I live this lifestyle every day, and I just love to influence and other people into this lifestyle. I got one certain client that I work with every single day, and he's the hardest working commercial client I've ever had in my life. He trains like he's literally training for an undisputed title every day, 2 hours
Wow.
a day, and just being able to inspire people and teach people, he's lost like almost 30 pounds, moving around, sparring rounds, and that type of thing to me is just awesome. So
Yeah.
that's my life right now. I'm really loving life, and another gift of boxing, I'm a happy camper right now.
Awesome,
Mr.
man.
Mendez.
I got a couple more questions for you from some of the people watching,
Yes,
and
sir.
I think a comment I think I saw. So let me get to those real quick. So first off, let's see. Um, what is your favorite punch or punch combination?
My favorite punch combination, honestly, 1, 2, 5, 2, 3. I love coming under with that uppercut, back over
There
top.
you go.
One,
Bang
two,
bang.
five, 3. I like that one. It mixed it up pretty good.
Awesome. All right. Second
That's who
question.
asked that question. I like that one.
Oh, Rusty. Rusty asked that question.
Rusty. Thanks, Rusty.
And he has a second question. He says, "How important is diet as a master, and do you suggest anything in particular?" Go to his gym. That.
Yeah, here you go, Rusty. I think diet is important in life. Everyday life, everybody should have good nutrition. Everyone should eat good, should eat whole foods. A diet is extremely important in any sport you're going to do, because it's not only about putting on you say, oh, I'm a heavyweight, I'm over 201, so I can eat whatever I want. No, you got to box. Your body has to produce, right? This vessel what we're in is the what we're blessed with to get us through that. So I don't know if you can have, say you're a race car. Say this is a race car. Am I gonna like fill it full of shitty gas? Or am I gonna put good gas in it? So therefore, I mean, not so much a diet. A good nutrition plan is paramount, because that's the
Mm,
fuel that you're going to burn, and that's the fuel that's going to energize you, and that's the fuel that's going to keep this body moving. So you eating right and eating good and getting good sleep is paramount to boxing and life, to be honest with you. I mean, because the only thing to get us to the finish line is this right here, right?
yeah. Yeah.
And
Lifestyle definitely has to be a lifestyle change. You know what I mean? Getting
yeah,
that good nutrition, getting the workouts, getting the sleep, as you said. You know what I'm saying? All that, and getting a good coach like Johnny to help you through that progress. You know what I mean?
yeah,
That's
yeah.
super important as well. You know what I mean?
So important. So I'll give you some tips. Here's some things that I do, and they work, by the way, and completely work. One thing that I do is I'm a huge proponent of is intermittent fasting. Right? I look it up, Google it, test it. I fought 24 master fights. Most of them were at about the 141 range. I fought as high as 165, as low as 135, right? Not for nothing. Right now, I'm walking around at the same weight. I'm walking around at 135 because of intermittent fasting. I'm telling
Wow.
you, intermittent fasting works. So look that up. I'm telling you, look up the science behind that. It absolutely works. A high protein diet. Stay away from all processed food. Stay away from sugars, of course, but a high protein, and it's very important that you eat whole foods instead of eating processed shitty foods, because you eat processed shitty foods, you're gonna be hungry in an hour anyway.
Yeah.
Digest differently. You eat whole foods that digest differently, and your body turns it into fuel differently. So I would look into, for me, uh, there you go. There's this guy on YouTube. I'll shout him out. We'll put him in the thing. His name is Chris Herrera. He's here in Miami. He's awesome. His YouTube channel is amazing. He does a bunch of great foods, the same food plans that I follow. So I follow him. So I'll push it to him. He's a great guy.
Yeah, we'll put up if you want to share his link, we'll put him up. You know what I mean? So that way they can access it easily. You know what I mean? We'll put your
Yep.
guys' links and everything on our post and everything. All right, I have a comment for you from Melinda Obal out in
Oh,
Florida. The
damn. Champ.
sweetheart. What a sweetheart, right? All right, so she says, I have loved following you and your journey since graciously video editing my first exhibition in Atlanta. When we moved to Florida, your gym has been wonderful to us, women boxers and master sparring. Thank you.
Oh, Melinda Champ, you are so welcome. You are a gem, Champ. You surely are. We're so glad that you come down to us. By the way, Melinda, on December 3rd, we're having a little member sparring. You can come on down to that. But that's another thing I was going to mention too. About a month ago, a month and a half ago, I did put up a host for
I
to
was
do
going
a
to ask you
master
about that.
sparring
Yeah.
day. Yeah, just kind of give it a little test run, see what kind of feedback I got. And unfortunately, Fort Lauderdale got hit by some pretty crazy floods that
Yeah.
week, and our gym got flooded out. We were closed for a week, and we had to totally tear the whole gym up and put it back together. And
Wow.
um, but that didn't happen, so that's going to get rescheduled. So definitely be on the lookout for that, and I'm hopefully going to have that sometime here this summer, in the next couple months.
Okay. Let us know because we'll definitely, advertise it on the Masters group, and obviously, maybe even when you get close to that time, we'll bring you back
Uh-huh.
on and talk a little bit of what they can
That'd
expect and everything. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
kind of detail it a little bit for them. But
Perfect.
that's going to be awesome. Anybody that can make it I'll try to make it. To be honest with you, I need a vacation. I need to go to Florida. You know what I'm saying?
You know
So
what?
I'm gonna try to make that.
That's the kind of idea behind it. It's kind of easy to get down here for the most part.
Yeah.
It's a holiday, it's a weekend in Fort Lauderdale. We're literally 8 minutes from Fort Lauderdale Beach.
Okay.
Um, and there's definitely, be a cool little weekend. You come down, do some
Yeah.
sparring on Saturday. No anxiety of fighting or anything. We have a couple clinics. I'll maybe bring in a couple special guests. A couple,
Yeah.
give clinics or whatever. We'll go watch a fight and have a good weekend.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Awesome. All right. Let's see. I think that's it. Any so I'm gonna leave the floor to you. Any shout outs, any last anything that we didn't talk about that you would like to talk about? Please, brother, the floor is yours. And you know how we do.
Right. Well, I appreciate that, my brother. First of all, there's such a long list of amazing people in maps. I would love to shout out with the Marty Hills, Jackie Atkins, and there's just so many amazing people that I truly adore. And for me and for you guys, let's keep this ball rolling. This is a very important platform that Manny has helped design for us here, and it's so awesome. And the sport of boxing in itself, keep trying to bring other people into it. You know what I mean? And it's definitely, to me, it's a lifesaver, and it's a skill that everybody should have.
Yeah.
One way or along the other, and it's not even necessarily that you have to compete or get to that level in it. Just the training of it in itself is amazing.
Yeah.
Um, and again, kind of what I was saying before about being able to inspire people, and that's an amazing gift that Masters Boxing has done for me, and for that I'm extremely grateful. For you, Manny, I'm extremely grateful. For all of you guys out there watching, and anyone that's is complimented me and all the compliments I've gotten on the Facebook, and I've gotten all kinds of stuff and people, admiration, if you will. And I truly try to be the most humble person that I can in the sport, and just let my, things in the ring speak for itself, type thing, and be humble on the outside of the ring and walk and talk like a champion. And that's exactly what the sport gave to me. So,
Yeah.
Manny, thank you. Without you, I would never have any of this stuff, because it would have probably ended in Kansas City. And thank you, everybody out there, for continuing to do what you're doing in the sport, and keep punch, keep your hands up, and let's go, baby.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, brother. You're an inspiration, a motivation to so many of us, bro. You have no idea, you know what I mean, how many people you've inspired. But also, for those of you out there, we have within our own community, we have some great coaches that not only coach, but have that experience, have that experience that they know what it is to be a master boxer. They know what it is to compete at the highest level of masters boxing and amateur boxing. You know what I mean? So make sure you reach out to some of these people, man. Johnny's a great coach, a great motivator, as you can see. And so if you have the opportunity, reach out to some of these guys and make sure you take the time and learn from them, because they're here. You know what I'm saying? They're here. And, I know a gym can be intimidating, but we have guys like Johnny. We have guys like, throughout the country that make it a lot easier. And like he said, it's not always about competing. It's about life. You know what I mean? It's about good health. It's about, the workouts, the training, the self-confidence, So make sure you take that into consideration. Hit these guys up. Make sure, if you're in town or anything like that, get a session with them. It'll change your life.
Absolutely. Absolutely will, and thank you for pointing that out. And you couldn't have said it any better. It definitely, it doesn't always come down to competing, and it definitely is such an amazing lifestyle. And I want to mention one last thing, Manny.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just this fraternity and all that. I can't even remember all the amazing people, but man, I have my whole friend base right now is all because of boxing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
even I hardly talk so much to my family, that's whatever. But my friend, but everybody's because of boxing,
Yeah.
not music or whatever. But there's been some staples in my life, like yourself. But Michael Rios
Yeah.
was another legend in the Masters boxing division, and I had the honor of fighting him twice.
Yeah.
And him and I, close friends, like you and I, Manny. We talk
Yeah.
all the time. Jay Cochran from up in Canada,
Yeah.
crazy. I love that guy, man. Yeah, but they're great friends,
Yeah.
and just even Marty and all these Rob. There's so many amazing Polyannuzzi up there, and just some amazing people that have just been such awesome souls that I call my dear friends now.
Yeah.
And I just want to give a shout out to all those guys. Jackie Atkins, I mentioned, female in there. Melinda is definitely in there. I can go on and on, but there's so many along the way. But
Yeah.
the fraternity that the Masters boxing really come down to is magical.
Absolutely. I couldn't
So
agree. I couldn't agree anymore, bro. You know what I'm saying? So for those of you that have questions, please feel free to ask them. You know what I mean? We're here to help out.
I,
Like Johnny
I was
said.
gonna say,
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I was gonna say that too. Anytime you guys ever want to ask me anything about boxing, what I do for training, what do I eat, what I ate this morning, what I ate last night, how do I stay in shape? I mean, how did I train for fights? How did I face an aggressive? Whatever you want to ask me, I've been coaching now for about 12 years. So if you have any coaching, you're just getting
Yeah.
into it. I love helping people out. To me,
Absolutely.
to me, that's my payday. I give
Yeah.
two fucks less about money.
Yeah.
When my head hits that pillow at night and I'm happy, I'm a rich man.
There you go. There you
Yeah.
go. Yeah, so there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Our good friend Johnny. Once again, thank you, bro. And again, you're gonna be a constant member of this podcast. You know what I mean? So
Let's go, baby.
so we look forward to we appreciate everything that you've done, and we look forward to the future. And I can't wait to see you hopefully out in Florida when you do your sparring camp and stuff. You know what I mean? So so people stay tuned. You know what I
I'll
mean?
keep you posted. I'll be soon. I'll keep you posted, Manny. Thank you, man.
Okay, you got it, my brother. All right,
Bye,
you have a
brother.
great evening,
Hey, guys.
brother, and we'll talk soon.
All right, Farace out.
There we go. All right,
All right.
everybody, we're gonna do another commercial. We'll be right back.
Thanks, guys.
Double up. Double up. Double up.
All right, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. What a great time with Johnny. One of the I could say one of the legends of Masters Boxing, both in the ring and out the ring. The guy's class act. Thank you, Johnny, for doing that for us. We really appreciate you. So now what we're going to do is kind of go through. We've done this before, the last couple of live streams, but I just want to make sure everybody, sometimes we get new viewers and whatnot, so I just want to make sure that everybody's on the same page, making sure that they know what's going on. Here is a list of the next couple of tournaments coming up. All right, check it out. So you have, we already did the Main Street Masters Tournament in April. Up next, we have the Rude Dog International Masters Tournament. That's May 20th and 21st in Brooklyn, Connecticut. That's excuse me. That's this weekend coming up. Then we have the Doc Doherty Boxing Classic that will be July 6th through July 9th. Now the kids will be involved in that. So 2 days for the kids and 2 days for the Masters. Masters will compete Saturday and Sunday, so you don't have to show up till Friday, and then you'll compete on Saturday and Sunday. Then we have the Midwest Masters Boxing Tournament. That's July 15th and 16th in Ann Arbor, Michigan. The Dallas Masters Boxing Tournament. That's August 5th and 6th in Dallas, Texas. Then we have the Gleason's Masters Tournament, August 25th and 26th in Brooklyn, New York. And at the moment, we have, last but not least, the New Jersey Masters Boxing Championships. That's September 16th and 17th in Atlantic City, New Jersey. And again, we're going to also be doing the champion versus champion in New Jersey. So if you are going to compete in any of these events, make sure you sign up as soon as possible. Registrations are open for all the events. Go to their websites and do your thing. All right, at this point, let's see if we have any last questions that we might need to answer. You are echoing. Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. I think I have both of the a double mic on for when I did the tournaments. So my apologies for that. We have little things that we are going to be fixing in the near future, so stick with us. We will get all these little glitches fixed. But I hope you enjoyed today, especially with our special guests and everything. Let's see, do we have any last questions? Warren Gell said, what is your meal plan before a bout? I think that's for Johnny. So what I'll do is I'll let Johnny know about the question, Warren Gell, and then we'll post an answer for you on here. All right. I think that's pretty much it. Thank you everybody for tuning in. How do you guys like? Do me a favor. Let me know how you guys like the live stream being on the website. Has it been easy to find, easy to deal with? Any issues that you see, aside from the little things, Johnny's mic being off for one, and then my little oops here with the echo. But aside from those little things, are you guys having any problems with any of the live stream or anything like that? Let me know, and we'll continue to do our thing. You know what I mean? Thank you everybody for tuning in. I think this is it. We are done for today. I hope you enjoyed today's live stream. And we'll be on next week again on Tuesday. I will be on Thursday. I'm going to share some things with you guys. There was an event that happened this past weekend. We had some issues, or not we. There was some issues at the event and everything, but I want to make sure that people understand certain things that are going on and behavior and all that. But you know what? Before we go, let me talk about something real quick. that has been brought to my attention. I apologize, I was going to sign off, but before I sign off, let's talk about this a little bit. So in Southern California, there's a group of people that are doing kind of like these sparring events. I don't know what you would call them, but they're basically sparring events. And unfortunately, they seem to be unsanctioned. So the reason why I say they seem to be unsanctioned is because, number one, they did tell me it was sanctioned at first. I called the California Athletic Commission, and they told me that it was not sanctioned. Okay, and it's definitely not sanctioned by USA Boxing, so therefore it's an unsanctioned event. Okay. The problem with that is it's fairly clearly stated in the USA Boxing rulebook that you're not allowed to participate in any unsanctioned event. Doing so can cost you your membership and whatnot. Now, I'm no one's guardian, I'm no one's parent or anything like that to tell you what to do. It's your choice to do whatever you want to do. For me, it's just letting you know what the rules are and what the consequences can be. After that, it's your choice. Whatever you want to do, it's not, you live your own life. So I just wanted to bring that up because unfortunately some people are trying to say that I'm bad mouthing these people and their thing. To be honest with you, I can care less. It has nothing to do with me. Does it seem to be pretty good? Yeah, but it has nothing to do with me. So I don't have a say in it either way. For me, it's about the boxers that might not know any better and then get in trouble because they just didn't know. So I'd rather educate people, and then they can make an educated decision and go from there. You know what I mean? And that's all I wanted to bring to the table. So with that said, we're going to sign off now. If you have any questions about any of that, let me know, and then we can talk later more in detail with that. Okay? All right, everybody. Have a great evening. Thank you. Signing off, Manny, and we'll see you next week.